Alrighty, welcome to this week's FinX segment with Built by Trading. In this segment, I go over all of the popular names that I see and also the ones that kind of have the most hype over Financial X, and to see if it's just noise or if there's something that we can actually take advantage of and make executable. So let's get rolling with it. Firstly, Hood. Hood, I've been saying personally, I've been looking for a trade here. I was looking for a trade basically this on Wednesday. I was saying, hey, we have 3 days of consolidation. I wouldn't be shocked if we got an undercut of these 3 days, a tag of an 8 EMA, and then we continue on higher. We got 1 day of follow through, but then today on Friday, we gapped up and did nothing but sell off. We're still holding the 8 EMA. However, if you look at where we found supply, is at this prior supply zone. So this $120-ish is going to be rather important. Then after that, it's not too much further until we get other potential supply at 125-ish, 123 to 125. So I do still like Hood. However, it might need to chop around a little bit. Levels that I'm specifically looking at myself are these pivot on gaps here. This is also an anchor VWAP from the prior high. So number one, this range, $107.42 and $104.96. This is my first area. If it undercut that and then reclaimed it with the 21 EMA tag, I think that would be a decent trade as well. If we gap down, we have a nice tight opening range relative to the 30 days, prior average of 30 days. And then we break higher around the 21 EMA, I think that would be a potential decent trade as well. But for now, this might have to flush out a little bit. We get a nice little reset and get a potential higher low relative to this higher low. And you can see here, this anchor VWAP right there is from this prior low. This was my entry from last week, and I sold out here. So it's really done nothing over the past week, which is fine. It needs some rest. There's nothing wrong with it. NVIDIA looks great. Let's look at the weekly. First off, it is chopping in range. However, consolidation broke through, found support at the 200 EMA. That's around 50% of the range here. It's also around this prior supply area. So this, 190 to 195 has been rather important. And so this looks good. Looking on the daily, nice little double, short-term double bottom here. Once I call it a double bottom, once it breaks its prior resistance of 200, came back and retested, and now we're pushing off even higher. It has cleared these pivot on gaps above, which is really nice, and it's also cleared this one. I'm going to hold that until it breaks out. Ideally, we might be able to use this to trade against. So basically, what happens is this is a pivot. This is the pivot from this day. Gap down has never been touched, right? And so once we clear this $210 and $86 range, we break out. If it comes back to retest it and starts pushing out again, we can use the 209.38, 1 cent below the pivot on gap range as a stop. And we can have a nice tight risk stop loss size of 0.66%, right? You can hit your targets pretty well. So it's nice and defined. Ideally, maybe it hits this $213, $214 area, 212 to 214, somewhere in here, then pulls back to set a higher low relative to here. You could always set an anchor VWAP at this prior low and to find like a level of interest. But this level of interest, we have the 50 EMA, we have the 5 EMA, we have the 8 and the 20. So look at this right here. All of that is kind of accumulated right there. It's also the bottom of the 3-day pivot. I would not mind a $205, $200 level entry. That wouldn't be too bad. Actually, I lied. That would give back way too much of this move. I would, you don't want any more than 50% of this move given back today. So I would be mindful of that. If it has any real juice, you don't want to give that back. So 50% is about 206. So I'll be looking at that 206 area as a level of interest. Micron, there's better places to be, right? It had a massive move. Yes. And now what is it doing? It's chopping around, it's basing, it's consolidating, it's holding 50 EMA, it's underneath the 8, under the 5, under the 21. There are just better places to be right now. The risk reward is not here. I would move on. SOFI, this is a decent looking name. However, what have I been saying if you've watched my videos? We have the 200 declining, 200 EMA. Where was it rejected? This is why you don't buy in these areas. It has to prove itself still. If it's underneath the 200 EMA, you are fighting the trend. You are fighting the downward pressure. Just be patient and wait for it to get above. We also have the anchor VWAP from the all-time high, just above that. And so this needs to continue to base a little bit more, break up above the 200 EMA. Maybe it blasts, it breaks through, it comes back, chops around above, and then it starts a stage 2 uptrend, right? But for now, this is just, it's basing. Now, if you're a long-term investor, sure, maybe, pullbacks you can buy within this range. If it breaks this $14.75 range, I would get out. But you're sitting on your hands and just letting this work. This is not, we're looking for actionable setups here. When you're watching me, listening to me, I'm looking for actionable short-term setups or even potentially moderate-term setups. So we need setups that look like they are about to move. Tesla looks interesting. Downtrend line, consolidated at it. Basically, all it did this entire week was chop around within Thursday's low. All of this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, all within this Thursday's range, chopping around. So it's kind of just wait for it to get tight. If we want to go down to the 30-minute time frame, right? Here is Thursday's low. However you want to do it. You can draw, straight lines if you want, or you can draw a little uptrend line if you really wanted to. You can go from Thursday's highs to these lows or these highs here, right? And just as it fills out. But really, I am not super interested in it until it breaks this downtrend line. This 394 to 390 area was a pretty obvious level of support, right? So this could be the potential higher low relative to this low. If it cuts underneath this Thursday's low of $389.30, I'd get out of the way, right? But for now, it's just chopping. It looks interesting. There's probably better places to be. AFRM. This looks interesting. It's holding the 5. It's holding the 8. It's consolidating. It's going up and to the right. The 21 EMA is going up. 50 EMA is going up. 200 EMA is going up. It just recently broke out from this resistance area. So this looks pretty interesting. I wouldn't be shocked if we get a little bit of a pullback to the 21 at this point after this nice run from this low to this high over the course of 16 days, a 42% move or so. It's a good move, right? So it looks good. This is an area you could probably plan out trades. Meta, I really like Meta. Number one, why? Downtrend line, strong week. Look at the volume we've got the past couple weeks. And the range that I've been personally watching has been this range right here. It's undercut it. And then came back in multiple times. Now, we technically don't even have a gap fill yet from this gap down. Now we have a gap up to potentially hold against or fill, etc. But Meta is coming out with had some big news this week, coming out with their own models. The pricing is relatively cheap for pretty high execution and intelligence. They're coming out with, they're going to start selling their compute, and so they're now a compute in that realm, providing competition there. And so Meta all of a sudden is in the game again. And I would watch for a base. I'd let for the EMAs catch up, or we get a price correction or some sort of time correction. I wouldn't chase this here because in the last 2 days so yesterday from low to high was 10%. Add in low to high over 2 days, 17.5%. Let it chill. Let it calm down. Rocket Lab. SPCX basically broke the space theme. Okay. It's holding this pivot on gap for now. It's holding the 200 EMA, which is flattening for now. But what are the other EMAs doing? They're going down. 8's going down, 21's going down, 50's going down. 5's going down. This needs to chop around. It's holding an interesting level, right? So it has that going for it, but it needs to chop around. There are better places to be. Same thing with ASTS. I don't know why, the FinX keeps talking about these names. This is a huge chop zone, and it's just sloppy. Move on. IREN. I think this is a bear flag. Downtrend, bear flag to the short-term EMA, rejection at the 200 EMA. Okay, I would not be surprised if we basically already hit this $36 area. I wouldn't be shocked if we head down to 30 bucks, $31, retesting this low. Okay, it's under the 200 EMA. What did I say earlier? It's under 200 EMA. It's not investable, it's not tradable, you're just fighting the trend. AMD, memory, chips, etc. I think they're basing up here. I think, the major move has obviously been made. Is the risk reward worth it up here? I don't know. For me, no, I'm not super interested in these names. It's a super choppy market right now. If you try and trade this, you're most likely going to get chopped up like an onion, and then your eyes are going to start tearing up. You're going to blame it on the onion, but you're really crying. So potential here, right there. This could be the beginning of a rounding top. Okay, I'm not calling anything. Just think about potentials. There's damage been done here, right? This important level here, 510 bucks or so. That's holding. If that breaks, I would look for the 50 EMA at 470. If that breaks, I would look for 439, 38, 39 bucks right here at this low. That's basically the retest here. I do have some alerts here for some undercuts and reclaims. But really, I'm not super interested in this. I think there are better places to be. BE, I don't know. I just see this thing all the time. It's so sloppy. I don't know how you trade this. Look, it's just chopping. These are not names you necessarily, I don't think, you want to play. Unless you're a range trader, sure. You can risk against these lows. Maybe you can risk against today's lows. And it continues to chop in range. We have a failed move, comes fast move, right? We have a failed breakout. So you'll see this all the time. Once you get this in your head, you won't be able to unsee it. We have a failed breakout right here of this range. It fails. What's the target? Opposite end range. We hit it. Opposite end range. It happens all the time. Breakout right here. Failed breakout. What's the target? Opposite end range. Okay. Failed breakout. What's the target? Opposite end range. Okay. So it's chopping around. There's better places to be. Let's look at history real quick. Oracle, I thought this, the chances of this bouncing this week, I thought were pretty high, but guess what? It's not. It did not bounce whatsoever. Matter of fact, it was up 0.26% on the week. That's nothing. It's down 40-something% over 20-something days, 30-something days. At prior support, it's still getting rejected at a downtrending 8 EMA. This is a weak name. I would watch this could potential here. This could go down, fail to go lower off of these lows, and then reclaim, and that could kind of reset it. But either way, the name is broken. I wouldn't be trying to catch a falling knife here. SMCI, I still think this is an interesting short, maybe around this $30 level. SOUN, interesting area, finding support at prior support, holding under it. It looks like a short to me. 200 is down, 50 is down, 21 is down, 8 is down. It's a weak name. Move on. Go look at something else. ARM, holding prior support area, holding the 50 EMA, but what is it doing? It's chopping. This move, it gave it all the way back until it gives some sort of affirmation that it's somewhere to be. It's nowhere to be. App, this is a sloppy name. It continues to, chop around. It fails to break out, came back 50% of the move, comes back here. It's a lower high. This was a lower low. It's sloppy. Sure, you can risk it in this area. It's a decent area to risk against. And it can move, but there's no direction. There's no direction to it. It's not clean. You want to look for clean names. FROG, frog. This looks pretty solid. We got some nice selling today. But look, breakout, bull flag to the 21. Nice little pop. Anchor VWAP, interesting area off this volume day is around 87, 88 bucks. I do think this is an interesting area. There would be confluence around the 21 EMA. So if we get a gap down, a nice tight range, and then it pops out of that opening range, we could potentially get a nice stop loss. Nice risk reward here. But right now, opening range, it was around the average or so. It's under the 3-day. It needs some work, but if you're looking for names to be in, Frog might be one. AAOI, optics name, once a market darling, holding underneath the 8, under the 5, under this breakdown of 136. It's at this prior resistance area. It's holding it so far. I wouldn't get too excited about it. If it breaks that, yeah, the 200 EMA, it's not even a good risk reward at 101. Unless you're really in and out super quick, you can maybe get a 15% move. So HIMS is interesting. Healthcare, right? XLV. We have some resistance here. It's above the 200. Has that tagged the 21? It looks like it's trying to reverse. I could come back down to the $30.30 area where the 200 EMA, 850 EMA, you might have a quote-unquote golden crosshair if you care about that stuff. This is where I found prior support here. It's, the breakout level, it's retesting it again. It looks okay. VRT, better place to be. CRDO, looks sloppy. MXL, failed breakout. RDDT, this looks all right. Went for the gap fill this week, failed to hold it, but it looks good overall. I did enter this on Thursday, for my long term to see if we can get a little push. However, my stop is below this. I would not be shocked if it came back to test the 50 around here, but it looks good. It looks like it's trying to turn around. Data is important for AI. And so it has that data that AI can kind of train and learn off of. Bros looks pretty decent. It's holding this breakout area here. Found supply here. Let me draw it out for you so you can see what I am seeing. Resistance area. Okay, found it again in that area, and prior resistance is really around this area here. And found support pushing off of it. So ranging in here, it's not ideal that I gave this entire move back. I don't know. PLTR, it is at an important area right now. Let's let it load. Right now, very important area. This $122. Anchor VWAP from this prior low. This has a potential oopsies at this point in time. This 122, 124, 120 area, I think it needs to hold. If it does not hold, this is a lower high, and then we could potentially get a lower low. It's still underneath the declining 50 EMA. It's still under the declining 200 EMA. It's now below the 21, below the 8, below the 5. Yes, Alex Karp went on national television and kind of dunked on Anthropic and OpenAI this week. But the fact of the matter is, look at the chart. Price pays, right? All right. Viewer requests. Sorry, getting a little long in the tooth here. Now, NOW, chopping around. What's a below? 200 EMA. Move on. It needs work. BA. Potential reverse head and shoulders here. Potential higher low at this 50/200/21. So it's sloppy. Sloppy. It needs some work. I don't know what your time frame is, but it needs work. Okay. Oscar looks pretty decent. Holding the anchor VWAP from the breakout here, holding the 21 consolidation. It looks like it could, continue on as long as healthcare gets some strength. It has made a rip-roaring move. Let's see, from this low to this high over the course of 65 days, 211%. It's a big move, big move. So, I mean, everything is up. I wouldn't be shocked if we get a pullback to the 50 EMA. It wouldn't be the worst thing to let it kind of clean up and get another base here. So if this consolidation area breaks, you can just look at 50 EMA area, breakout area there, $25 or so. Matter of fact, I'm going to set an alert on that. We'll see what happens. TEM. Oh, TEM. I did also entered here. I'm underwater already. My stop loss is below this low. I still think it looks good. Nice base breakout. It's retesting it. I don't like how it gave back basically the entire move from Thursday. But it found some prior supply at a prior supply area. So this $62 to $63 area is proving to be important. If it breaks that, I think we're heading to 70 or so, so 9-ish, 10-ish% move. But really, it needs to hold this. If it does not hold, I wouldn't be shocked if we tag the 50 around 53 bucks, $54. That's an area. I do have an alert set there. But we want it to hold this, right? We want it to hold this. If it fails, you could accept back into this range as 46 to $52 area, then it would be out of play. ONDS, I think it looks like a decent short. I'll be actually looking to short this next week, and a nice little bounce up or anything. 750 area, I'm going to set an alert here. Then I would risk the high of July 9th. It's at the 8 EMA downtrending. 21's down, 8's down, 5's down. It's breaking this prior rather important support below the 200, below the 50. Target would be $6.30. So, if you get in around 757 or so, it's a 15 to 17% down move. All right. Last viewer request here, CIBR. They asked me to go over the security, cybersecurity specifically. This is the ETF for it. And so overall, I'll go over the specific names here, but this looks decent, right? This looks like this is a nice base. This is a nice base right there. We have prior resistance, so we should not be surprised about today's action, right? You anticipate this stuff. It's still holding the 8. It's still holding the 21. The 50 is going up. The 200 is going up. What I would look for, what I'm anticipating, right? If cybersecurity is going to be a big deal, especially with AI coming out, it needs to get smarter. So we get a little bit of a base, and then we break and go, right? So that's basically what I'm looking for. I'm looking for some sort of cup and handle formation, something like that. Boom, in we go. Okay, it's a little sloppy, but you get my point. Let's go to cybersecurity. Top names. These are the top names. I stopped it at 2%. Okay, let's go over the first few. PANW. I think it was like 8%. Go look at my X. I posted about this the other day. PANW. Very strong. It looks great. It looks great. Prior support area or resistance, breakout. I wouldn't be shocked if we come back at $300 area. I'm going to set an alert there. It would be below the 21 EMA, where 310 is around the 21 EMA. It looks good. These are names that you might want to pay attention to and set trades up against. Buy strength after the dip. If you are a subscriber to that idea, you could put an anchor VWAP at the highs, wait for the price to get above it, come back and retest it to set a higher low somewhere, and then you can buy the strength after the dip if you follow Brian Shannon. Big Brian Shannon fan. But I don't follow his process to the exact because it doesn't fit me personally. I use the analysis nicely. Okay, makes sense to me. Anyways, PANW looks good. FTNT. This is called the sushi roll right here on Thursday. But that means it engulfed the last 5 bars. It can happen in any time frame. So typically, whatever way this resolves in, it'll resolve rather quickly. This happened in Microsoft a few months ago. And let's count this out, right? The high and the low. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The low here is 152.54, and the low here is 152.25. So this engulfs the last 5 trading days. Whatever way this resolves, it kind of failed to resolve here. As long as it doesn't break this low, I'm anticipating higher anyways. It's holding the 21. It kind of closed around the 8 EMA. The 5 is a little wavy, but things are going up, right? It looks decent. Ascending triangle, breakout. Let's wait for the retest. This could have been the retest. We don't know, but it looks good. CrowdStrike. Base. Failed to break out. Okay. This isn't a pure range trade. This is more of a base. Rounding bottom. That's how I see it. Okay. Try. Now we're creating some sort of handle or so as of right now. That's how I see it. Ideally, we tighten up. This is getting a little rangy compared to this very tight range. Explosion. Ideally, it tightens up here, and then we get a breakout. So I'm looking for a cup and handle look, basically. Obviously, it can fail. We don't know, but this is why we prepare ahead of time. CSCO. This looks great. This looks great. Downtrend line. Broken. Okay. I think this is one of the better looks out of these 3 so far. So what we can do, let's go down to the 30-minute time frame. Look at this low. We go to the low. Where's a level of interest? Right here. Anchor VWAP. Look at that. 117. Man, that's a move off of that. This is a strong name. that would be confluence with the 8 to the 21 and the 5. That I would not be chasing this. What I would like personally is a gap down Monday. Relative strength today, right? Gap down Monday, somewhere within 117, 116. Potential little selling in the morning to retest this downtrend line if we care about that stuff. And then we set a low for the day, and then we can go. I'm looking for a higher low set off of this 3-day move. This is day 1, day 2, day 3. So day 1 you start, day 2 you add, day 3 you start trimming, trailing, taking profit. So that's basically the process I follow. I'm looking for a pullback. AVGO, AVGO. This one's a little sloppy. It's back above this range, but it's ranging, right? It's a little sloppy. It's above the 8, above the 21. It has that going for you. It has a pivot on gap at $417.42 and $414.75. It's got to get above that. If it does, then maybe we can get a gap fill. How long it takes, I'm not sure. Net, Cloudflare, looks great. Big base. Sorry about all the lines. This is actually kind of sloppy. I'll delete all those later. Big base, okay. Nice, another little rounding base here. So this is just like a base on a base. It's just setting higher highs and higher lows, right? Higher highs and higher lows. That's what defines an uptrend. Draw the lines if it's hard to see until your eyes get trained to see it. All right. So this is uptrending. What's not to like about it? I watch for a pullback. I wouldn't mind a retest of this prior resistance area. It'd be confluence with the 21 EMA. Wouldn't be bad. I'm setting an alert right there at 250. Watch for 250. That's what I'll be looking for. OKTA, TA. I was in this. I rode this entire trade. I got stopped out today. I was just trailing my stop loss. So add a nice percentage trade there. And it looks like it's about to pull back. There's nothing wrong with that. Nice base. Now we watch for a higher low set. We can do an anchor VWAP from this low. Where does it bring us? Confluence with the 21 EMA. I'm looking around. I'm interested in the $130 level. We'll see what happens there. FFIV, not super familiar with it, but it's at all-time highs. What's not to like about this? It gets real tight. Didn't mean to do that. Got tight. Wedge pattern. Okay, breakout. Volume. Anchor VWAP on that breakout. See if it holds it. Okay, looks pretty decent. What's not to like about this? Trend is your friend until it bends in the end. Okay, there's nothing not. This is a name. Most of these are basically somewhere you need to pay attention to. ZS is okay. AKAM, I think they're cleaner names. RBRK. This looks nice, right? Looks very similar to the other. Nice looks. Nice base. We'll see if the breakout holds. We'll see if it holds. It's at an important area now. If it does, what's going to stop it from continuing higher? Looking left. You have to look left. Right here. You got to watch for this 90, 92 to $93 area. Watch for that. I'd maybe trail your stop. I mean, obviously it could blast off, but you might want to take some profits in this area. Not recommendations. That's just what I would do. Not financial advice. And after that, I will look in. I would watch 97. 97 and 98, somewhere in there. So RBRK looks pretty decent. ANET, this looks phenomenal. I was watching this, and I was really looking for a pullback. Today did nothing but do an inside day. Breakout, rest, day 1 on Thursday, rest day 2 today. I'm watching for a breakout for a continuation next week. I'm literally watching this name to enter next week. This is a place to be, right? These are names to pay attention to. You just have to be mindful of the environment, because it's, if you're not in the right names, or even if you are in the right names and the market's not going your way, you put yourself at risk of getting chopped up. So I would personally like more of a pullback closer to the 8, closer to the breakout level. I do have a pivot on gap here of 178.58 to 173.63. So I will be watching that. area, I have an alert right here, 176. CHKP. This got slapped. This is sloppy. Don't waste your time. Frog already went over it. GEN. This is a little sloppy. But DDOG. This is a solid name. I don't like how this is a bearish engulfing. What's a high? 271.27, 271.54. Yeah, it engulfed highs all to lows. So it's not ideal that that's a bearish engulfing candle. What might start happening here is it starts to range right in here. I'd watch for that. I'd watch for that. It'd be important to break 270 and hold above it. Get some momentum out of 270, start moving. Then, you had the prior high, pretty close to that. But ideally, if you get a lot of buyers in here or sellers in here, they have stop losses here. Maybe you can get a stop run, get some momentum, and then you have to have stop losses up here, right? If you're a seller, and then maybe you stop run those. It can give you stop run to stop run. It might be able to give you some momentum into a buying frenzy. It just has to hold, right? It looks decent overall. I still think this is a place to be in. Looks interesting. DT, what is it? Dynatrace at the that's not the 200. I think I read from somewhere. Apparently, I was watching this name for a long time ago. Holding 200. Looks like it's trying to reverse. Looks decent. It's hitting a prior. Remember, always look left, right? Look left. This is, you even have to try. I'm doing this on the fly, right? That's pretty obvious, right? But it's a nice base. Looks like it's trying to reverse. Not at the top of my list. IBM looks great. IBM looks great. Overall, set it high or low. I am interested in the $280 level. Setting a higher low. Anchor VWAP from this low brings you down to 273. And so I just go level by level, right? Finding some buyers, potential buyers. 50 EMA is right around this 270 area. It's an important name. It's got some volatility in it. It moves. All right, good. That's enough for this week. FinX is kind of completed here. Hopefully this stuff helps. Like, subscribe, tell your friends. Give me names. Make comments below. I'll go over whatever names you guys are interested in as well. Ask questions, engage. Maybe we can work together, etc. And like, comment, subscribe. Go watch my weekly prep videos. All that good stuff. Follow me on X. And I will catch you next week. Manage your risk. Have a wonderful weekend. Make sure you get away from the screens.